Here's how you can set up your little ones for financial success. With only a couple $100s a year, not only can they probably go to any school that they want when they hit 18, but potentially have their wedding paid off for, maybe even their dream home, or, which is probably my favorite part, maybe have their first startup idea completely funded. Check this out. As many of you know, I'm a dad, and it's kind of crazy to think about, but my daughter actually has a portfolio that's older than she is. And I'm all about giving her a better life than I had. And if you're watching this video, you're probably a similar parent. This is the first step in building generational wealth. The Bible says that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So this is exactly what we're talking about in this video. We're gonna cover quite a lot in this video, from 529 accounts to custodial accounts, tax implications, pros, cons. Throughout the entire process, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm doing for my daughter, just to give you an idea, and maybe you can apply some of those principles for your family. Keep it in mind that there are a lot of, parenting preferences that are gonna take play here in this video, because I essentially don't wanna just hand Stella a ton of money when she turns 18. I want to teach her the value of money. So a 529 college saving plans works a lot like a 401k. Your investment, the capital that you put in, will grow tax deferred and can be withdrawn and used for educational expenses. There are two types of 529 plans. There is a prepaid tuition, which just means you're prepaying your kid's tuition now at the current rate. If they decide to go to Harvard or Stanford, 18 years from now, whatever their tuition increases may have been, you're not gonna have to pay for that because your tuition was prepaid for today. The second plan is obviously the 529 savings plan, which allows you to go to any school and use those funds for any type of pre-qualified expense. They were originally supposed to be used only for post-secondary educational expenses like college tuition. But in 2017, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act opened this up where we can use it now for K all the way to like 12, and then of course college tuition as well. So you don't have to wait until your kids are in college to start using these funds. You can actually start using them as soon as they're eligible for kindergarten. How much can you actually contribute to these plans? Now, there is no maximum, there's no cap that the government kind of states that you can put in there. One of the things that I always like to account for though is that there is up to $16,000 in a gift exclusion tax that the IRS will give you. So essentially, if you gift your child $16,000 for as of 2022, you can actually put that money into their account tax-free, and then that money will grow tax deferred. Anything above that, you can fund it, but again, you will pay taxes on it versus having this additional hack that you can apply. What are the qualified educational expenses? There is a long list that I'm gonna read here, and it includes, of course, the college tuition and fees, books, materials, room, board, computer-related equipment, internet access. The crazy thing is that there are some expenses that are not included. So for instance, the IRS doesn't qualify transportation expenses. So if your child doesn't live on campus and they need to drive and they need a car to go to school, or the gas, the insurance, none of that is included. The other shocking expense that's not included is health insurance. So unless the college charges like a unified fee for this and it's like all included, it won't be considered a qualified expense. If you do need to use the funds for whatever reason, it's your money. You can withdraw it at any time. The only problem is that you are going to have to pay a ordinary income tax on the earned portion, and then you're also going to pay a 10% fee that the IRS charges for that. There are some exceptions though. For instance, if your child decides to go to military, or if they get a full free ride scholarship and, worst case scenario, they pass away, you're able to withdraw those funds penalty free. What happens to any money that you don't actually use in your 529 plan? So let's say you're saving up for 18, 20 years, and then your child doesn't actually use it. What can you do with that money, or is it forever stuck into that account? If you want to withdraw this money and not actually have to pay that penalty fee, here's a couple of things that you can do. You can change the beneficiary. So if you have two kids, one of them decides that they don't want to go to school, or they go to the military, or they're not going to use those funds, you can switch the beneficiary. You don't actually have to use it on your own child. You can give it to anyone else in your family that is a qualifying member. There is a list that the IRS gives you on what is considered a qualifying member, but essentially you can roll that over to someone else. You can hold on to the funds, so you don't have to do anything with it. Just hold it for a couple more years in case your kid changed their mind. Another interesting thing that you can do is actually change the beneficiary to yourself and then you go out and further your education, whether you or your spouse. Will having a 529 plan affect your child's eligibility for financial aid? Absolutely not. From all the research that I've done and the people that I've talked to, it doesn't affect financial eligibility. Of course, the only way that I'm actually gonna know that is 18 years from now when I am signing up Stella for financial aid. If you're interested in the 529 plan, these are offered at the state level. You're gonna have to reach out to either a state representative and he or she will be able to direct you to the state fund, and you can essentially sign up and handle everything yourself. You can also go through a broker or a financial advisor. You are gonna have to pay that management fee. So it's entirely up to you on how you decide to set it up. If you select the plan yourself, you go in and you pick some of the investment opportunities that they allow for. While as you know, if you have a financial advisor, they're able to direct you, coach you a little bit, answer your questions. If you do have any questions about any of the state's funds, feel free to drop a comment below or DM me. I'm always available, happy to give you any, personal advice, not financial advice, which this is not. So just let you know, it's your preference. You can pick which state funds you want to invest in and go from there. The other thing that I'm doing for Stella is not only the 529 plan, but actually a custodial account. And the only difference between the two really is two things. One, the custodial account is just an investment account that you're essentially holding on to for them. Although it doesn't have a lot of the, for instance, limitations on withdrawals and how you can spend it, you can withdraw those funds anytime. It's your money. There is one drawback when it comes to like financial aid, for instance, because when your child is going to apply, a custodial account is not your asset, it is their asset. So for instance, if they're applying for financial aid and they want to know how much the child is worth, whatever is in that custodial account will essentially, penalize your child because they're worth X amount of dollars. You're just holding on to this money. It belongs to the child. It's under the child's estate. Another thing to consider with the custodial account that is essentially a pro is, although that money is taxed, it's taxed at your child's tax bracket, not your own. So if they make very little money, or this is the only money that they make based off of dividends or something like that, you're gonna get taxed at that kiddie rate and not your tax bracket. So for my daughter Stella's case, I talked to my wife about this. We don't plan on funding her entire 529 or her entire education. It needs to be a split between what we provide and the rest she can either work or go get some financial aid and grants and scholarships, etc. She needs to value and understand the money. And again, this is a parenting thing, right? So if you have different goals and visions than I do, by all means, it's a personal preference. We're gonna set her up where some of the funds are gonna be on a custodial account. Some of them is gonna be on the 529 plan, savings plan. The custodial account is actually pretty cool to set up and it's pretty fun. I use what's called Early Bird. It's an app that allows me to set this up. I can fund it, I can set up recurring payments. I can kind of select my risk tolerance. So as she gets older, obviously I'm gonna reduce the risk. But as of right now, I have it set to moderately aggressive, I believe. I don't remember. We'll go into it and check it out. And one of my favorite features is that you can give stock. So if you share a link with, your parents, family members, friends, or like for their birthday or whatever holiday, instead of them giving things that, your child's gonna throw away or maybe not like, you can give them this link and they can fund money into the account as well. They can actually record a video with that gift, so it all gets uploaded. And when she sees that, here's the contribution that was made by your aunt, your uncle, whoever, here's a video on why they did it. So it's actually like a really cool experience. It's very inexpensive. They're not sponsoring this video or anything. I just love the app. So let's jump right in and check out Early Bird. All right, so this is Early Bird's website. It's interesting, but they actually have crypto that they're working on too, so you can join. You can see that the website is very well built and it will walk you through exactly how it works. I don't need to show you specifically Stella's account because they're all the same. But once you sign up, it's gonna ask you for your information and then your kid's information. Here's how you can send a gift to somebody. This is the cool thing I was telling you about. So you can select if you want it to be frequency. That's not what I wanna show you though. What I wanna show you, here it is. So as you gift, this is how they see it, right? So the gift amount, how much that gift is actually gonna become when that person turns 18, the video that's attached, and the occasion. So this is like really cool. You have a video, you have a note, and how much that money is going to grow. So that's it for this video, guys. I'm coming up on 300 subscribers, which is not a lot, but to me it means quite a lot actually. That means there's almost 300 people who find some value into what I'm saying and what I'm trying to teach. So I appreciate you being a subscriber, and I will see you in the next video.